Hi Leo, welcome to your June 2020 reading. Thanks for joining me. My name is Michelle. This is for Sun, Moon, Rising and Venus signs. Special welcome to my podcast listeners on Apple and Spotify. Leo, for your reading for June, there's a chaotic energy around you. I do feel it's after the period of stagnation that has been brought on by the external circumstances in the world. But after that, I get this release. I get this sense of freedom. It's like you're at, if you consider a horse, at the beginning of a horse race, when it's in the stalls there, and when those stalls, the doors open, and that horse goes bolting out. That's how I feel about you, Leo, in the month of June. Now, healing chaos. Well, for the benefit of my podcast listeners, I'm holding a card and it features a spiraling tornado. So it's about energy, spirals. If you think of spirals, there are a lot of different spirals in nature. There's water spirals, air spirals. There's even spirals within the galaxy. Even our DNA is a spiral. It's the healing principle of life. And it's not an accident, rather, that the ancient symbol for healing is the caduceus, two spiraling serpents. So it's the sacred spiral. Now, most people assume that nothing good could come out of a tornado, but of course the truth is that everything in nature has a reason for being there. Now, it does, of course, have destruction in its wake, but there are a lot of birds and animals that benefit from a new landscape that is created by tornadoes. Downed trees provide habitat for things like black bears, and they create dens for many kinds of animals. Tornadoes even churn up the soil in ways that rejuvenate the earth. So there's a sense here of, yes, destruction, yes, chaos, but afterwards rejuvenation. So this card does acknowledge chaos or potential chaos, or perhaps even the need to create chaos in your life. It's an activator for healing. So there's an underlying energy of healing around this chaos. Now, there's a feeling around this, if life has been stagnant, that it may be time to create this chaos. And I see this. We have the world in reverse, the hanged man in reverse, and the ace of swords in reverse. So I'd see this as you creating something that brings about freedom, independence, letting yourself free from lockdown, from an energy of stagnation. So after this period of world events with the world in reverse, the world being turned upside down, the hangman in reverse, something that's been out of your control, needing to wait, I get you taking action on something that you feel is the right thing to do. Right in the center of this, we have the Knight of Swords. And of course, what is he riding? He's riding this white horse, and I've got this card as you, the horse card. And it's a white horse coming out of this gateway. So it's being released. It's going through this darker energy of lack of growth into this newness, into the light. The card speaks to me of freedom, of liberation. Of course, it's about trusting yourself when you make a choice. Your true power, after all, resides in your ability to always know you have a choice in life, a choice of which direction to take, a choice of what to do. And that choice is yours alone. It can't be made by other people. So for you, it's knowing the right thing to do, knowing in your heart and in your mind what it is that you want to do, and making the right action towards that. So I feel this energy around you of fast action, swift action, soon after the end of this lockdown period. Got the Hermit in reverse, so here you are, you're coming out of this isolation, wanting to get back out there and really chomping at the bit. You know, the Ace of Cups in reverse speaks to me of a need for healing. It's like a need to drink from the waters of life, to heal yourself, to drink, where before there was a lack of water available. So this thirst. So it's like you've been in this desert, this dry desert. I'm looking at this chameleon card as you. It's like you've been in the desert, and then after the energy of a spring rain, and you get that elixir of life, water on your tongue there, as this chameleon has, there's new life. So I see this as you coming out of isolation, ending a stagnant situation with new life, feeling very invigorated. And even though there's chaos that's being created around this, it feels good to you. Now, I will say there's a little bit of a danger. I've got you here, Leo, as the King of Wands in reverse, which tells me you have a lot of power, an enormous amount of power, but it's how you use that power. I see you want what you want and you're going to go and get it, but it's without dominating, and it's without needlessly hurting other people. You know, there's a feeling here of not letting anyone get in your way. And of course we all have to take other people into account when it comes to the actions we take. Doesn't mean your action isn't right, I feel it is. But the way in which you create this change in your life speaks to me of someone who needs to take a little bit more of a flexible approach, because I do think that this decision that you're making, and I've got you here as Uranus, the father, doesn't just affect you. I think some of you may even be married, or you may be in some kind of contract or agreement that needs to be broken in order to gain this freedom, Leo. Justice and the Two of Cups, both in reverse, rather, if I can get my words out, speak to me of the breaking of a contract, an ending, a dissolution of an agreement. And so how you go about this, I'd feel for you, you believe that you're doing the right thing, and it can create this energy around you of being very stuck or rigid in how you approach this dissolution of an agreement. You know, Uranus, the father, I'm picking that up as somewhat emperor-like. He is the holder and representation of worldly power in the external world structures, and it's the realm of the father. There's a feeling around this of the need to take responsibility, stepping into owning your own power in the world, creating the kind of life that you want for yourself. I see you very invigorated and very determined to do that. But the way in which you need to end some kind of contract, which may or may not be a marriage, it could be a business as well, how you release anything that you feel is limiting is going to be a major factor for you in how much chaos there is, or how much chaos is created. So there's a need to be a little bit more flexible in your approach. I see this as a card associated with an enormous amount of masculine power, whether you're male or female. So it can be a little bit intimidating, maybe a little bit dominating. So you don't want to come across as a bully or someone who's just wanting to get their own way, Leo. You certainly don't want to do that. So let's have a look. I'm going to pull some cards from the Lenormand deck, and I'll pull one per position, and let's get some more information. But very determined action, something that you feel after this being like, it's like being cooped up, and you take off like this tornado, kind of leaving, well, how much disaster you leave in your wake, that's going to be determined by what action you take. So let's see. I'm going to pull a card for each position. We'll start with that world in reverse. We have the tree. So I do think that something that you feel is spiritual or health related, something that's going to be good for you, good for your body, mind and soul, has been on hold because of world events. We have the Rider with the Hanged Man in reverse. So it's something that you've wanted to do, a journey, a trip, something that was out of your control here. You had no control over things being put on hold. I get things came to a standstill for you very abruptly. The Ace of Swords in reverse, we've got the Moon card. I'm picking that up as dreams, intuition. During this time where things have been on hold, you've experienced a lot of signs. Dream. Yeah, I'm picking up as paying attention to your dreams. Now that could be actual dreams that you've had in your sleep, but it could also just be dreams that you've had, goals. Let's have a look and see what the Hermit in reverse is. We've got the Owls. So for you, I think that you've spent enough time thinking about something to gain this wisdom. So you're now sure, you're now knowledgeable enough to make this decision and stand in your power and believe that you are in the right, doing the right thing. We have the Clouds with the Knight of Swords. I see that as you cutting through the confusion there, clearing the way, parting those clouds, and even with this healing chaos with the tornado. It's kind of like that Knight of Swords energy is this tornado, and it cuts through these clouds, bringing the sunshine. And for the benefit of my podcast listeners, it's a picture of some grey clouds, but behind that is the sunshine peeking through with birds flying in the air. And I see that as this freedom that you want to experience. Now, the Ace of Cups in reverse, we've got the Garden. Again, I'm picking that up as drinking from the fountain, sipping from the cup of life, wanting to experience things. Where before I get this kind of stagnant energy around you, Leo, it may have felt a bit dry, barren in your life, wasn't feeding your soul. I get this as feeding your soul. And things, as it relates to that, I feel the Garden here speaks about growth, potential growth, lush. So where there was that barren desert, there's a lush energy here. So it seems like you're going to go from something where there was nothing or very little to an abundance, a plethora. Kind of like a one extreme to another. So there's a need to balance that out. There's a danger here of becoming too much in the other way. Now, too much in the past was barren, dry, no growth, but it seems like you might be going towards too much of something. Let's take a look at the King of Wands in reverse. We've got the Anchor. So that tells me that for you, you need to stabilize yourself, stabilize your reactions. Because I feel for you, you feel so much that you're in the right and that you want to do this thing that you want to do, that any kind of people around you who are disagreeing with you, I get you could react in a very negative way, come across as someone who is quick to anger, maybe a little bit grumpy. So there's a real need here to stabilize yourself, ground yourself, and cool your jets, like wait a bit before reacting to anything, especially if it goes against what you want. Justice in reverse, we've got the Bear. This feels to me like this contract, and the contract relates to, there's money associated with this, money and power. Now, of course, that could relate to any kind of contract. Now, we also have the Two of Cups in reverse, the dog. So in this case, I think someone has been loyal to you in this contract. Stable and loyal, I get. And there's, even when I look at this card, if you think of the bear here as a very, and I was talking about bears earlier, with that card of the tornado, and what the vision that I had in my mind there was of the black bear's habitat, and how the tornado creates the destruction of forests in order the trees topple, and that's how this bear energy here finds its new den, its new home. So I feel that the energy around this is one of destruction, possibly around something that was stable, secure, and was a foundation for one of you. I think it was a foundation for both of you, but for you, Leo, I get you wanting to leave this. This person, though, still wants to keep that solid foundation. So there could be some conflict there between your needs and the needs of this other person, Leo, is what I'm picking up. Now, for some of you, it could even be a paternal figure. We have the card of the father. So this could be someone here who's going against their father's wishes, or someone here who has an authority, a powerful role around you, and going against that person's advice and saying, you know what, I appreciate the advice, the owls, but I've thought about this and I feel that this is the right thing to do, and doing it anyway. I feel that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I do think that there's an energy here of someone around you. I get a paternal figure, or that could even be you, Leo. For some of you, it could be a spouse, whether it's male or female, though I do get a more of a masculine energy around this, and somewhat of a very dominating, very powerful, strong influence that wants to exert their will, and you saying, you know what, no, I'm going to do my own thing, thank you. It's time for me to be an individual and step up and show who I am. Yeah, it feels to me like this person is limiting your growth, limiting your development, or just stopping you from being who you truly are. This father energy here, Leo. So difficulties there. It could be around family, could even be a boss. Some of you'll know who that is, I'm sure. Let's take a look at the Twin Tarot Oracle. I'm going to get a message for you, Leo. Message for Leo here for this reading. What does Leo need to hear? We've got the Hermit. Yeah, again. Counsel. I think that you have to really trust your own counsel here rather than this other person's. If you feel strongly that you're in doing the right thing, only you will know that, of course. But I see this as very similar energy with that Uranus card of the father. It speaks to me of if that isn't a person around you, then it's you having experienced this period of isolation, finding clarity, finding your way through some confusion, and knowing what action to take as a result, and being sure of that, and really trusting your own instincts, trusting your own wisdom to take the right course of action. But meeting some resistance around you, I do get that. There is some kind of resistance with at least one other person around you, possibly more. But the way that you handle these other people is going to determine how much chaos is created in the wake of this freedom or this change that you want to bring about. Chameleon, I see you as changing. And people around you, they may not be certain about this change. They may not recognize who you are. Change is disturbing, but it's a natural part of life, so resistance is futile. So riding the energies of change here, Leo, knowing where you're going, fear is lessening for you, which I think is brilliant. And the energy that I'm picking up around you with this chameleon, if you think of a chameleon, of course, they change colour as they journey, right? They change to fit in with their circumstances. But I get you going the opposite way. Rather than trying to fit in with a culture or a way of life or the way that you've done things in the past, I get you instead being a little bit more flexible and thinking, you know what, I don't always have to blend in with everyone else. I can be a little different. Be unique. Be yourself. And I don't think you're going to take too long to make a decision about being yourself here, Leo. So I'm going to leave it there. If you'd like a personal reading, you can email me, gypsyinsights@gmail.com. Of course, don't forget to press that thumbs up button. If you are enjoying these videos, please share me on your social media. I would love that. And if you're a newcomer, please do press that subscription button. I would love to have you as a new subscriber. Special thank you to my podcast listeners on Apple and Spotify. Please don't forget to check out my YouTube channel. It's Gypsy Insights by Michelle for more readings. Wishing you the best at this, Leo. Looks good, and please take care. Bye for now.